Hi, good evening, and welcome back. And thank you so much for being here and being a part of the program and picking up after the Christmas holiday on this Tuesday, the 27th. Now, of course, everyone kind of trying to, I don't know if it's, you had time off, but if you're like myself, now you're trying to rest and recuperate after the holidays, gearing up for, of course, what we hope will be another safe and joyous New Year's Eve for everyone. On that note, here in McGoffin County, no major calls of emergency to pass along over the course of the weekend. That's always a wonderful way to start off the program. However, I do have to relay to you the passing of some individuals tonight on our obituary listings, and one of those includes the passing of a legend, a mentor. There's so many ways that he has been referred to, but the passing of a veterinarian who has served his community and this region for a half a century, and of course his legacy goes much beyond the veterinary office that he created and which still carries on today. With all of that said, we'll talk about that. A couple of arrests that did take place over the weekend, real quickly getting you caught up on some high school scores and schedules. And the last of the big transports coming through the parkway today, but it ended on a good note for some local volunteers. I'll have all of that and more in just a few moments. There were some people, however, that were the subject of fatal crashes and other incidents over the course of the holiday weekend in other parts of our state. We do, however, understand that there was at least one fatal accident in Pike County. This happened on Saturday, Christmas Eve, where Kentucky State Police from Post 9 say that there was a fatal crash that happened on Saturday evening. The preliminary investigation says that Tammy Bush was traveling on Zebulon Highway in that portion of Pike County when she lost control of her Grand Prix and struck a utility pole. Tina Buzzard, 48, of Pikeville, was a passenger in Bush's vehicle, and her passenger, that being Buzzard, suffered several or fatal injuries and was pronounced dead at the Pikeville Medical Center. There is evidence at the scene that indicates that the deceased was not wearing her seatbelt at the time of the collision, and alcohol does not appear to be a factor. And a two-car collision in Rowan County on Christmas Day claimed the life of an area man from the eastern part of our state. The crash itself happened Sunday around 7 o'clock on Kentucky Route 377 near the intersection of 377 and Route 799. State police say that 58-year-old Jimmy Stacy of Moorhead was driving his vehicle, and that vehicle crossed the center line and struck another car. Behind the wheel of that car was 59-year-old Michael Eisen of Moorhead. He was taken to an area hospital and later pronounced dead at that facility. Eisen's passenger and wife, 54-year-old Barbara Eisen, also of Moorhead, was taken to the St. Clair Regional Medical Center, and she was treated and released with non-life-threatening injuries. We understand that Stacy, too, was taken to a hospital, we believe, in Lexington, also treated and released, we believe, with non-life-threatening injuries. Once again, pronounced dead a short time after the crash was 59-year-old Michael Eisen of Rowan County in Moorhead. A few arrests and updates, if you will, to pass along to you tonight. One involves a court appearance earlier today by a McGoffin County man, a young man, a teenager, who was charged with hunting from his vehicle as well as fleeing and evading police and other serious charges. The incident happening just days ago, but the young man took a plea earlier today as per an agreement reached between himself and the Commonwealth and the judge in the case. I would imagine, with all those involved, hoping that a very young man had learned a very valuable lesson. There were 10 charges filed against Joshua Stanford, an 18-year-old McGoffin County boy, by a member of the Fish and Wildlife Department. After he was found to be hunting from a vehicle, he was charged with wanton endangerment of a police officer, wanted in the first, fleeing or evading police in a motor vehicle and on foot, and other serious charges. As for the wanton endangerment of a police officer, the Commonwealth moved to amend that to a wanton endangerment second degree, and after pleading guilty to that and all the other charges that he faced, he was sentenced to 12 months in jail. However, that probated for 2 years if he does maintain a very lawful path between now and those next 2 years. Also, his hunting privileges were suspended for a period of 3 years. All the other charges were also amended to a lesser charge as well, all to run concurrently, all with the same understanding that they did not break any laws during that 2-year probationary period. Some other stipulations also indicate that His firearm and hunting equipment shall be forfeited to the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. He has to complete 40 hours of community service. His vehicle shall be released, with him being responsible for the towing and storage fees, and that officers will not pursue any additional poaching charges that they had been investigating. He was also to pay court costs and fines of more than $600. In other courthouse news, the arrest of a McGoffin County man on meth and other drug-related charges. This goes back to Friday night. Trooper Ryan Hale with the Kentucky State Police notes that he observed a vehicle on Kentucky Route 378 facing the wrong direction in the oncoming lane, with the driver's side front tire off the roadway and the rest of the vehicle obstructing the lane. And that once he stopped, the above subject was found inside, that being Dudley Allen. Was found to be in the vehicle. The keys were in the ignition. The headlights were on. The door was closed. He says that being Trooper Hale, he activated his blue lights, and the subject got out of the car and approached Hale's cruiser. He says that the suspect appeared to be under the influence upon first sight, and he also demonstrated fidgety behavior, a variety of different indicators to the law enforcement officer that he was under the influence. He failed any and all field sobriety tests that were given. And after the investigation, my apologies, he was actually charged with possession of a controlled substance in the first degree, that being methamphetamine, DUI, first offense, possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to notify an address change to the Department of Transportation, other traffic infractions as well. Hale stated in his citation that Allen admitted to snorting methamphetamine, using Xanax, Suboxone, and marijuana prior to operating the vehicle, and that he also found a pack of rolling papers as well as 2 small plastic bags which contained a powdery residue believed to be methamphetamine on his person or in his possession. He was lodged in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center, that being Friday night, but had since posted bond as of airtime today. More headlines in just a second. To get high-speed internet on their state-of-the-art fiber optic network for all of your home and business solutions, or to watch TV without a contract on over 200 digital channels with superb quality, or stay connected with family and friends with 24/7 telephone service you can always depend on, contact Foothills Broadband today. Or just click on their link to the right to find out how they're working to provide the latest in communications at affordable prices with exceptional service at Foothills Broadband. I don't know, I think as you get older, age doesn't necessarily so much separate people as friends. Meaning that some of my great friends now today are actually the same friends of my parents or of my parents' age. And I guess when you get a little older, you really learn to appreciate someone for who they are, to be kind, honest, whether it's like-minded, interesting, or a combination of any or all of those, or many other countless other attributes that may draw you into their circle or vice versa. For me, my dad can recall his first visit to Doc, veterinarian William Holbrook, mind you, back around 1968 or so. And from the time that I had my first of many, many animals, mostly all dogs and mostly St. Bernards, I can say that I've known Doc Holbrook since I was a kid in the late 70s, around 1980, until he retired, and of course knew him thereafter. But on an annual basis, may have the opportunity and privilege to get a sit down with him for a few moments, maybe a half dozen or so times a year, just depending on how often one of my animals needed to see the vet, or I needed a little taste of sorghum. But it was always an absolute pleasure to spend a little time around him. Not always talking about animals, not always really talking about anything specific, sometimes just catching up, sometimes talking about sorghum. And it may have only been those few times a year, sometimes more, sometimes less, that I had a chance to do it. But I always look forward to and cherish those times, and I guess perhaps now even more than ever. An announcement Saturday night that I would imagine has stirred a lot of similar emotions from a lot of folks throughout a lot of Eastern Kentucky and beyond, who all thought so fondly of Doc Holbrook. At the age of 78, the rural veterinarian who started practice back in the early 60s and officially retired in 2013, passed away on Christmas Eve. A lifelong resident of Morgan County, graduating from the high school, going on to Morehead State, and graduating the veterinary college at Auburn University. Described by his family as a man of extraordinary discipline and focused priorities, he built, of course, the West Liberty Veterinary Clinic, and for years held satellite offices in Staffordsville and Jackson that most of us can recall, mentoring many in his field along the way, from veterinarians that, of course, now operate the West Liberty Veterinary Clinic to their assistants and staff over the years. Doc once held the title of president of the Kentucky Veterinarian Medical Association. He was a member of the Morgan County Water Board, a magistrate, a member of the board of directors for the commercial bank, and had honors bestowed upon him such as West Liberty Citizen of the Year and the Kentucky Veterinarian of the Year award. With a great deal of love for his family, for pets, animals, community, and farming, he, of course, and his brothers started Holbrook Brothers Sorghum back in the late 80s. And in September of 2013, my last interview with Dr. William Holbrook, we had this conversation at his sorghum mill behind the veterinarian office. He had just officially retired from practice and was gearing up for the Sorghum Festival. And we spoke about several things, including how he and his brothers saw tobacco farming on its way out back in 1989, and they were looking for a sweet way to fill in where it left off, and they started with a one-pan sorghum operation, which had grown to 3 large pans, growing 65 acres of cane a year, yielding up to 2,000 gallons a year, shipped in all sizes of bottles to all parts of the United States. And he also graciously accommodated me when I asked him to reflect a bit on the past 50 years, his practice. He spoke of how it changed and how he had enjoyed it and how it had been such an important part of his life.
Well, I started September 1st in '63, and at that time, as many people know, there were very few roads. I mean, you go out on a large animal call, you go and you come back. Now we can make a circle. We've got roads. That's a big improvement it's done. Plus medicine and all the equipment and everything else. But I've really enjoyed 50 years of practice. When I started, it was the end of a rope and a post. Now we have kettle chutes to handle, and it's not nearly as physical as it was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
And you've got to step back a little bit and enjoy more of your time, I guess, aren't you? You've got some help in the office.
Yes, we have 4 other vets in the office, and I just go in and fill in if they need help, or if someone wants to take a day off or needs to take a day off or a week's vacation, whatever. I'm just to fill in for them.
Well, even though you're on a more limited schedule, could you ever picture a day in this world that you wouldn't be doing this or veterinary medicine, either one?
It'd be hard. I'd have to be on the ocean front walking around. And it's just part of your life. And, you do it this long, and plus to enjoy it. Some people talk about getting burned out. I've never been burned out. I've always, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm always happy to be here at the clinic, look around, see what, you never know what today's going to bring. Complete listing for funeral services coming up in just a few moments after our community calendar. As always, our community calendar is brought to you by our friends at McGoffin Farm Bureau and your local agent, Doug Green, and as is most often the case, it starts off with a couple of birthday wishes tonight. Yeah, I think I got out of the office a little bit early last week and just didn't catch this in time. It was to be a birthday wish for a now 14-year-old Christian Faith King who turned 14 on Christmas Eve. From your Aunt May and Aunt Dodo, I believe it says, and a whole lot of family and friends, a happy belated 14th birthday to Christian Faith King. And I got a birthday wish that reads for tonight. Happy birthday this December the 27th to Teresa Mullins from your boyfriend Menifee Shepherd and a host of family and friends. Happy birthday to you, Teresa. And just one other announcement on our community calendar, and it's not until next Tuesday, a week from today, but very important nonetheless. Always a bit of a long calendar announcements this time of year. Hey, that's okay. It'll pick up before you know it. The next McGoffin County Community Blood Drive. Folks, this is a time of year when they are in so much more desperate of a need for blood donations, and you can donate very simply, very painlessly as well. Next Tuesday in the IGA parking lot, you can't miss the Kentucky Blood Center's Bloodmobile. They'll be there from 1:30 to 5, and they hope that you'll stop and see them. Donate blood, and if you do, get a Kentucky Blood Center hoodie. Yeah. What other reasons could you need? You shouldn't need any reason to use our community calendar either for birthdays or anniversaries or special announcements like you just heard. Mail, email, Facebook, phone, fax, drop them off here at the studio. Any way you can get them to me, tell me. I'll tell everyone about them. And remember, our program is always on our website, that is, at yournewstoday.com, as well as our YouTube channel at Your News Today by Ritt Mortimer. Turning to funeral service announcements this Tuesday, services were held earlier today for Sandra K. Howard Miller, 45 of Superior Road. She passed away on Friday, the 23rd, the daughter of Stella Hager Howard and the late Adam Babe Howard. Besides her mother, she's survived by daughters Danielle and Ashley Marie Miller. Burial was at the Swampton Cemetery. Once again, services held earlier today in honor of 45-year-old Sandra K. Howard Miller. We've just received word of the passing of 97-year-old William Howard Collinsworth of Sagersville, who passed away yesterday, married to Alka Aline Collinsworth, who preceded him in death. He's survived by daughters Garnet Amix and Judith Collinsworth. Visitation will begin tomorrow after 5 and any time prior to services. They're set to begin this Thursday at 1, all that being services and visitation from the Magoffin County Funeral Home, with burial following at the Collinsworth Cemetery at White Oak. And 78-year-old Dr. William Bill Holbrook of West Liberty passed away, as we've already referred to. Visitation is this evening. Services are tomorrow at 1, all from the Index Community Church. Doc Holbrook was preceded in death by his first wife, Agnes Conley Holbrook, and son, Michael. He's survived by his wife, Pam, kids, Vicki Rose, Beth Sutherland, Reagan Ament, and Megan Harden, as well as a host of grandchildren and other family and friends.
An inconvenience for motorists on several occasions, sure, perhaps an even bigger inconvenience for those who had the task of transporting hundreds of thousands of pounds of steel and material, hundreds and hundreds of miles, ultimately making its way down south where it will be part of an automobile manufacturing facility. Today was the last time you'll see something like this rolling through Magoffin County for a while.
The fourth and final trip through Magoffin County for this entire convoy, literally all one piece. The truck, the trailer, the pushers in the rear, well over 100, maybe even close to 200 feet long, about 800,000 pounds in totality. But the fourth and final trip once again through Magoffin County as Miller Transfer brought the last piece of automotive stamping equipment through Sagersville today. And as they have each and every other trip, they had to briefly close the mountain parkway in the construction area to prevent any dangers or injury to other motorists. And that was to be pretty much the summary of the report, just letting you know that that was their final trip through. However, for the efforts of the Magoffin County Rescue Squad, a gracious donation was made on behalf of the company.
This is a piece of a stamping press. It's built actually in Dayton, Ohio. It's going to a plant in Greenville, South Carolina. And what it's going to be doing, it's going to be made to stamp out car parts for BMWs. And this is just one of the several pieces that makes this, gigantic press. So, but anyway, on behalf of all of our crew and the owner of Miller Transfer, we would like to present a check for a donation to the county down here for all their help and assistance in getting this thing through here. There's a little letter there from our owner. I'll let you read that. Don't drop that check or the wind will blow it away.
And it was a gracious donation. The Magoffin County Rescue Squad and Carter Conley actually kind of caught off guard. Of course, they'd had several man-hours invested and a lot of fuel time as well, so covering expenses was nice, and the donation actually did that, and a little bit more. And, of course, that's always an extra nice gift during the holidays. But a big thank you to Miller Transfer for recognizing all the volunteers who helped get them through Magoffin County safely and on to their final destination. And who knows, we may see something from them in the future. If you do, well, you'll at least know where it came from.
Up next, just because it's the holidays doesn't mean there's not someone playing basketball for many of our viewing area teams. They've been on the court either shortly before or getting ready to be right after Christmas.
Beginning with Montgomery County and the Hornets, the boys had their second loss in a row after 5 wins in a row. That came at the hands of Sheldon Clark last Thursday night on the 22nd. They are going to be playing in the Mountain Schoolboy Classic. Now, tip-off for them starts tomorrow. That's at Belfry at 3:30. Right now, they're set to take on Eastridge tomorrow, Letcher County Central Thursday. Friday still to be determined, but still to be in the Mountain Schoolboy Classic. The Hornets right now at 6-4 in 15th Region basketball. The Lady Hornets have picked up 2 wins, but they've dropped 3 in a row, most recently to Pikeville. 68-39 was the final score. Now, that goes back to Saturday the 17th, so they've had almost 10 full days off of rest and time to recoup before tonight's game. That's in the Lady Bulldog Classic. That is the Lady Hornets taking on Hazard tonight on the road. Tip-off set for 7:45. Their schedule doesn't have them back in action till January the 13th. But schedules sometimes, especially this time of the year, do change and are subject to do so. Johnson Central and the Eagles and Coach McKenzie, a win, 75-73, their third in a row. That was last Wednesday night versus Lawrence County. That was at Raceland in the Derby Classic. That was the championship, by the way, a 2-point win. Now the Eagles are on the road tonight in the Henry County Invitational, taking on Shelby County tonight. Tip-off set for 7. They're also set to be in the Henry County Invitational tonight, tomorrow night, as well as Thursday. The Lady Eagles of Central last on the court last week, December the 22nd, a win over, now that of course is just Central, not Johnson Central, 60-49, and the ladies are 8-2. By the way, did I mention that the Johnson Central Golden Eagles are 9-1 with only 1 loss for the boys? The girls 8-2. Now their next game tonight, they're playing in the Elite Insurance Solutions Ladies Lions Classic. That's in Garrett County, taking on Boyle County. Tip-off was actually set for earlier this afternoon. Don't have an update as of yet, but they're set to be in Garrett County between now and the end of this week. Paintsville and the Tigers, a 60-40 win for the boys last Friday night in Gatlinburg against Concord Christian in the Smoky Mountain Classic. To this Wednesday, starting tomorrow night, they first faced East Carter in what will hopefully be a long run for them in the Stultz Pharmacy Holiday Classic, once again in Greedham County. The boys from Paintsville 5-3 in the region. As for the Lady Tigers and Coach Les Trimble, last game last Friday night, they were at Gatlinburg and they took on North Laurel, and they brought home the win 72-39. They're playing in the Mr. Micro Computers Ohio River Classic starting tomorrow night, and hopefully keeping there through Friday. The Lady Tigers, once again, you're looking at that right. They are undefeated right now, 9-0. Did I get that right a second ago? 9-0 on the season for the Lady Tigers. Wow. And real quickly, Lawrence County and the Bulldogs, 73-75, a loss last Wednesday to Johnson Central at Raceland. They're off till January the 3rd for the boys. And for the Lady Bulldogs, a 46-43 win over Morgan County last Thursday night. They are in Pineville, and the Pine Mountain Classic starting tomorrow night. And with 4 days left in 2017, a little less now technically, a very short and semi-sweet forecast brought to you by Licking Valley RECC. I'm off to Adams Middle School and a little late getting there and almost out of time. So let me sum it up for you like this. For the last few days of 2016 tonight, mostly clear and 28 after a 72-degree day yesterday. Wow. Tomorrow, 49 and sunny. Some showers late tomorrow night, continuing into your Thursday as temperatures go from near 50 tomorrow to the lower 40s by Thursday. And rounding out the work week, we'll do so on a dry note. Precipitation should be gone. Cold air will be in place. 33 and 22 for your high and low. Mostly cloudy skies on your Friday. All right, the real question, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, 44, mostly cloudy, a 30% chance of showers early, but showers likely. New Year's night, as we transition to 2017, could be a bit on the wet side. New Year's Day, 48 and 43 for daytime highs and lows, still cloudy and a chance of showers.
That's going to wrap it up for tonight. Just because it's a short week does not mean it's not going to be a full week of news and information. Exclusive news beginning with coverage of tonight's Big Sandy Jail Board meeting and other items that you'll only find if you join us here every weeknight, except for the holidays, of course, 6 and 11 on Howard's Cable, as well as Foothills Communications, and on our website and YouTube channel as well. Thank you for watching. Have a good Tuesday night.